sat down to reflect on today's topic and what personal experiences I could share on the theme, I started to feel concerned about how it would come across. Imposter syndrome set in, as for each example of my own kindness that I could conjure, I was also reminded of the many times that I failed to demonstrate kindness towards others. Today's discussion is not about lecturing people on how they should behave or proving that we are good people doing the right thing. It's about recognizing our humanity and the small ways that we can make a difference, the ripple effect of kindness. Kindness is a universal language that transcends barriers, transforming individuals and societies. Gandhi recognized the transformative power of kindness and incorporated it into his philosophy of ahimsa, nonviolence, and seva, service. He believed that even small acts of kindness could create ripples, inspiring others and fostering harmony. I was recently introduced to the Sanskrit epic poem Mahabharata. The Mahabharata narrates the dynastic struggle for the throne in a war between two sets of cousins, the Pandavas and the Kauravas. The work explores Hindu philosophy, ethics, and the spiritual teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. After reading a translation of some verses of the Bhagavad Gita that the play incorporates, it made sense to me that Gandhi and others would be inspired by the concept of moral duty, or dharma, that the play explores. Among the themes explored in the Mahabharata is the essence and impact of our actions. Krishna tells Arjuna to overcome his ego and follow your dharma. Dharma is the law that governs humans. We cannot live like animals, where the strong dominate the weak. In human society, the mighty must protect the meek. In other words, civilization depends on kindness. When we forgo the ego to act with kindness for the benefit of others, we are reminded that we are all connected, and in harmony we thrive. We are all part of a giant web of energy, life on Earth, where the impact of every action, good or bad, swirls around us and reaches farther than we expect. There is an energy that can be felt when we give of ourselves to others, a feeling of expansion when we let go of self-centered concerns. But our society is predominantly focused on individual success, and this approach to life can lead to great suffering when we become alienated from our interconnectedness and our power to make a difference for good. Most people feel that energy with loved ones, and kindness can be a conduit to spread that positive energy beyond the limits of our individual worlds. This is where the moral imperative of dharma or duty comes in, and the role of kindness in upholding its moral imperative. Kindness is manifested in many ways, with a variety of positive impacts for individuals and society, inspiring happiness and social cohesion. Kindness relieves suffering. It inspires us to do the right thing, to overcome division and spread love. When we give of ourselves through acts of kindness, the power of love transforms us. Kindness is a service to others, but also to yourself. When you are inside yourself with unhappiness, simply engaging with others in a kind way can pull you out of self-centered negativity and elevate you back to a positive feeling of shared experience and mutual benefit. Like the Grinch who stole Christmas, or Ebenezer Scrooge on Christmas morning, choosing the power of kindness and communion over misery and isolation can breathe new life into an unhappy soul. Social scientists James Fowler and Nicholas Christakis discovered that kindness spreads through social networks in ways we might never have imagined. Their research shows that when you perform a simple act of kindness, it doesn't just impact the recipient, it can create a ripple effect that influences people up to 3 degrees of separation away. In other words, someone who witnesses you sharing a kind word with a cashier at your local supermarket is more likely to be kind to someone else, and so forth. We see examples of this kind of impact in Gandhi's philosophy and practice of kindness, which manifested in movements based on empathy and respect for all living things. His political acts, driven by kindness, had a global impact, helping to foster a more caring society, espousing values such as those highlighted by these Mahatma Gandhi Peace Council discussions. Acts of kindness, like Gandhi's support of farmers, modeled behavior that led to systemic change, such as protection of vulnerable people and global human rights. In leading by example, he created a ripple effect that led to other movements for peace and reform. The ripple effect of Gandhi's actions is evident in how other world leaders were inspired and informed by kindness-driven activism. To this day, people continue to come together for causes to ensure that we can all live together with respect and integrity. As Martin Luther King stated, "I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear." Values like nonviolence, peace, and love were reflected in other 60s movements, anti-war protests, music, and slogans like Flower Power and Make Love, Not War. Kindness-driven movements led to the welfare state, social policy based on the principles of equal opportunity, equitable distribution of wealth, and public responsibility for vulnerable populations. The world has been transformed by enlightening acts of kindness that inspire change based on love instead of hate. Nelson Mandela famously said, "No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite." Kindness is a catalyst for real change. In today's polarized and fast-paced world, acts of kindness are more crucial than ever. They remind us of our interdependence and our moral imperative to address fundamental social issues like protecting our environment and each other. But before we start equating kindness with large-scale movements of global activism or all-consuming community work, let's remember how easy it can be to emulate Gandhi and other transformative leaders by practicing kindness in simple ways that don't drain us. We don't need to seek out society's most downtrodden to make a difference. It starts with something as simple as a nod or a smile. Most of us are aware of the positive effect of talking to strangers. Those random encounters that put a smile on our face when we are able to overcome whatever it is that keeps us from engaging with those around us. Perhaps we hesitate at times to engage out of a sense of proper etiquette, respecting other people's privacy, not wanting to force an interaction. Not everyone is wired to be able to talk to a stranger, and we're all often too busy to notice others or expect them to notice us. Aren't we all supposed to take care of ourselves? There are so many reasons why society has normalized the habit of tuning each other out. During the pandemic, many people found themselves needing to seek relief from the isolation of lockdown. Suddenly, the whole neighborhood seemed to be out walking, and something magical happened. A passing remark, shared between strangers on a sidewalk, bloomed into a lifeline to our shared existence. Being forced apart brought us together as we recognized how we do need each other in big and small ways. We are all connected, and acknowledging each other with kindness can be a revolutionary act that you can remember to do if you set your mind to it. Although the pandemic crystallized this point for many people, the hardships of the pandemic also unleashed antisocial behavior, where people feel justified in their incivility towards others, online and in person towards strangers. How can we show kindness to people who hurt us or others? Isn't it right to punish bad behavior, to withhold approval, or even lash back against those who commit wrongs? In an era of cancel culture, society struggles with striking a balance between holding others accountable and finding forgiveness. We need to be aware of the forces that work against showing kindness towards others, regardless of whether we agree with them. Just like the ripple effect of kindness, hate too can be contagious. There are many reasons why we can be forgiven for giving into negativity in our lives. But we have the power to choose positivity, and when we do, it can transform us. We've heard how Gandhi promoted kindness to effect positive change. So how can you practice kindness to create your own small ripple effect? It starts with being mindful, stopping to smell the roses, recognizing the simplicity of life and other teachings of Gandhi that we are hearing about in these talks, being of service. When you take the time to be the change you want to see in the world, you can channel the energy of life itself. We are a conduit for the mysterious life force that flows through us all. And whatever your beliefs, you can acknowledge the power of kindness. On a daily basis, I am uniquely positioned to observe and enact this principle as a school crossing guard in my community. Each day, I meet and greet people on the street. Over time, we come to know each other's names and expect to see each other, however briefly. Or I may not see that person again, but 99% of the time, when you acknowledge someone and help them out in some small way, whether they need it or not, it grows the life force that we all need and thrive on. Some days, I may be caught up in negative thoughts and feelings. But the moment I'm out there, putting a smile on my face, asking a child about their day, commiserating with parents on their daily trek to and from school in the cold and rain, or joyfully celebrating some shared experience on a sunny Friday together. The simple act of acknowledging each other is a life-affirming energy and validation that ripples out into the community and benefits society at large. Our passing encounters impart a sense of belonging, making us feel safe and seen. We start to realize how important people can be to each other in seemingly small ways that inspire us to take responsibility for each other. Gandhi himself must have been shaped by countless interactions with people who came and went in his life, all drops in a bucket that led to a consciousness and a movement that shapes hearts and minds for good to this day. We hear about random acts of kindness and paying it forward. Small actions we can do to brighten someone's day and feel invested in improving society for everyone. We have all benefited from the efforts of others. I like to say that everything I have, I've been given. There is no me without we. Everything we have depends on the people and the world around us. We don't have opportunities in life or succeed without the support of society and this beautiful planet we inhabit. And kindness is a way to say thank you. Like Gandhi and other world leaders, we can also have a broader impact by promoting kindness closer to home. By sharing knowledge and contributing to community initiatives, giving our time and energy, we can improve each other's lives and foster goodwill and harmony. People can devote kindness in specific and targeted ways to contribute to positive change. I've talked a lot about easy ways to show kindness and how it can reward us and help others. But here comes the hard part. How can we choose kindness when we fundamentally disagree? When we witness bad behavior and every instinct is to defend and condemn? Does everyone deserve kindness? I'm talking about kindness in the sense of not giving in to anger and violence. For example, Gandhi's approach of peaceful protests and civil disobedience. Leading by example, opposing wrong by doing right. In a world beset by war, greed, harm, injustice, we are overwhelmed by pressure to call out moral failings and to not falter ourselves. It's exhausting and confusing, leading to backlash against political correctness, virtue signaling, and so-called wokeism. On a personal level, painful rifts between family, friends, and colleagues can eat away at us if we dwell in that hurt. I don't want to condone harmful actions, but when we are confronted with offensive behavior, taking the bait can lead to more harm than good. Think road rage, for example, or on social media, when differing opinions explode into an onslaught of online vitriol. It can lead to a tendency to isolate ourselves in our own safe bubbles of validation, where an echo chamber of only like-minded views shelters us from different points of view. But hope for peace depends on listening to each other and trying to understand where we're all coming from. It may be difficult, but we must try to take the high road. Try to let go and make the positive choice. Agree to disagree. Accept that each person must learn their own lessons. It's not an excuse to ignore bad behavior, but we aren't likely to win an argument in those heated moments, and fueling conflict will only stoke division. The expression is divide and conquer. If we are going to succeed as a society, we need to be united and try to work together. While preparing this presentation, I began to notice more and more references in pop culture to the power of kindness and its importance in our society. Kindness can in fact be a radical gesture. Empathy is a gift and our shared responsibility. Future is built on kindness, trust, and mutual understanding. When we are kind, kindness grows. When we seek unity, unity grows. I noticed that this title was on the bestseller list, a book by young Pueblo called How to Love Better, The Path to Deeper Connection Through Growth, Kindness, and Compassion. Came across this Globe and Mail article, also topical. Empathy is humanity's superpower, not its weakness. And social progress is only possible in the presence of collective empathy. From the 2025 CNN documentary about Live Aid, this is a quote from Sir Bob regarding the comments that inspired the previous article when Elon Musk characterized empathy as the fundamental weakness of Western civilization. Bob Geldof's response was, no, empathy is the glue of humanity, of civilization. We cannot exist in isolation. We cannot. Literally, we die. We require the function of society. That's what we need. In closing, kindness is a humble act of courage that anyone can do and that everyone needs. The next time you decide to be of service to someone through a small act of kindness, you may realize that it's actually you who is in need, and by connecting with another person, you are reminded that you do matter. The simple reciprocation of a smile, a kind word, and a wave can have a ripple effect that spreads and grows to make us all feel our worth here on earth. Your kindness in attending today is much appreciated. Thank you.